So today we are speaking to Joshua, who's actually ex-military from Florida. And after he left the military, for a while, he was actually homeless. And he's been stop-start with entrepreneurship for the last 6 years, tried a bunch of different business models. And then he eventually joined Digital Launchpad, went through the six-figure sales rep program. He actually used the mock call voice chat inside of DL to actually practice his sales skills. And the Digital Launchpad team actually pushed him to keep going, and he managed to secure 4 meetings live. He closed one of his appointments for $3,000, and now he's off to the races. So I'm very, very excited to get into his story. So on that note, let's roll today's student interview. Joshua, thank you so much for joining me. Really happy to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm great, Ali. It's a pleasure being here as well.
I'm actually very excited about this because this is one of them student journeys that I have actually been very involved in, and I was actually there at the moment where it really took off. So I'm really super excited to get your story across to everyone. So without further ado, before we get into all that, quick intro from yourself, Joshua, a little bit about yourself.
So I don't know where to begin. It's kind of a huge backstory. My name is Josh from Florida. I'm 28 years old. I have a bit of a military background, 4 years active duty, 2 years reserves. That's kind of where I started my journey right after I got out of the military. I was a 92 Foxtrot, which is nothing crazy, nothing too fancy. The patrolling supply specialist. I was just filling up aircrafts and Humvees, doing the dirty work. Right after I got out of the Army, I got into e-commerce, started drop shipping.
Right.
Like around 6 years ago, and drop shipping definitely made an impact in my life to a point where everything kind of changed for the better. And there's where I kind of transitioned over to SMMA.
6 years you've been in the entrepreneurial space, trying your hand at business and stuff. So yeah, so you did e-commerce for a while and then you transitioned to SMMA.
Correct, yeah.
Right. Yeah, okay. And how was that going? How were you finding that, the whole SMMA business? How were you having any success, or was it a bit of a struggle? How was it all working out for you?
It wasn't going good. Not good at all. I opened up, closed, around 6 businesses in total. Right. It's crazy because I was doing the math yesterday with my wife. We were going over the numbers and she's like, wow, it's crazy. It kind of goes back to what Alex Ramosi said in one of his shorts, that you can open up as many businesses and it might not be the one that's going to achieve, but eventually you get there, right? It's just a numbers game at this point.
100%.
So
I'm a big believer in that. In business, it's not necessarily your first business that may be a success, but it only takes one business to pop and for you to find your feet, for your rise to be like incredible. So you're doing the SMMA, it's not going particularly well. You start, stop. So tell me, what drew you to Digital Launchpad? What was the reason that you decided, okay, I'm having a little bit of trouble at the moment with my business and I'm going to join Digital Launchpad? What was that moment? What was that thought process like?
During the 6 years of me trying to become a self-made millionaire, I was like, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, I need guidance at that point.
Yeah.
And I didn't know where to go to. I'm not gonna lie, I joined the real world first. I was there for like 2 months and...
Yeah, we'll get to that as well.
Okay, so let me jump the story then. So I joined that, and I guess to answer your question, it started off with a video on Iman. He was talking about his life. He kind of hooked me. He was like talking about his life and how he got started. And I just resonated with his story completely because I came from nothing. I mean, long story short, after I got out of the Army, I was homeless. So wow. I was going shelter to shelter. So it was hard. A bit of what he said in his video kind of really impacted me. I was like, whoa, okay. I think this guy might be the one, right? It's not Andrew Tate, but always having that hope in my head, like, okay, this is it. But
I think gut feeling, isn't it? You have a gut feeling as well that this seems like the right place for me, and it's relatable. And Iman's story as well, very much somebody who came from a background where he really had to fight against the odds to make it. That resonates with a lot of people. So I can understand your reason for obviously feeling as if this is potentially the place where you would flourish and where you would grow. So once you joined Digital Launchpad, obviously you've got an SMMA. What course did you go into once you joined? Obviously we've got a few courses, but which one did you particularly look to go into to help you?
The number one course that really got my attention was the 6-figure for sure.
That's where you wanted to sort of build your skills, right? From my understanding, was in the sales space. So how did you find the course? You went through it. Did you find a lot of value in it? Was it really helpful? Did it plug them gaps that potentially you had in your
your knowledge base when it comes to sales?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Definitely overall, the mindset, he definitely had me better understand how should my mind be when I'm talking to these clients. What's my goal? Like overall, like as business members, entrepreneurs, we're meant to solve problems. So it's kind of like an I spy. Like, where's the problem with your business? I spy it, and then I find the solution to it. So normally that's all I needed within the 6-figure sales rep. And like, whoa, this definitely connected all the dots together. And then joining the community is kind of where everything just shined for me. I was like, whoa.
I want to get to that, because that's a very, very special moment. It's, for me, it was just one of the standout moments so far, to be honest. And you know, you've come into the community, you've done 6-figure sales rep, and obviously we've got the mock channel, right, where we do like voice chats and we practice our sales, we all go in there, etc. So you've gone in there with 15, 20 other students and Malek, our community manager, and you guys have just been rehearsing your sales scripts, right? Practicing. Tell me how you found that experience, how beneficial that was for you to like build your confidence to be in that voice channel with other people at the same stage and just fine-tuning your skills. How did that benefit you from a confidence point of view?
In a confidence point of view, it helped me exponentially, like so much. The fact that everyone in this community is just willing to learn and willing to hand out knowledge without expecting anything in return and do the same in return, it's amazing. It's just down to earth community for sure.
100%. That's something that I've really tried to drill home to people. People often come to me and ask me, Ali, how do you become somebody who can network? How can you? There's no golden skill, man. You just literally add value and just help people. It can be anything. It can be the most basic thing. Somebody might need help setting something up. They might just need help with their day. You just add value to people, and it works in a way where that value somehow or other comes back to you. So I've jumped in, right? Let's get to that moment that I really want to talk about. So one day you're in the voice chat and you've decided to do live calls. So this is not just calls between you and community members where you're practicing. You've decided to call potential clients live whilst your video is on, whilst your camera is on, whilst the community members are watching, and you've done a live sales call. Tell me how that was, because I mean, I know I jumped on towards the end. I know Malek, our community manager, was a big part in pushing you to do this, but tell me how that whole experience was.
That's definitely a good question there, because it's definitely what kind of helped me tip over the business for sure. I didn't know what to do. It was my first day joining. I was like, okay, what is this all about? I joined the mock call and I see people in there. I'm like, okay, what should I do? Should I join? Should I not join? Like, I'm a little nervous. It's my first day in here, like first day of school. And then I meet Nathan. He can't go unnoticed. He definitely was a big inspiration and why I took my first step. He joined and I asked him how he was doing. Everyone's there very friendly. So I'm talking to everyone, and Nathan tells me, so what's my business about? I told him a little about it, and then he told me a little about him. I'm like, okay, so why don't we just dial, right? Let's do it right here, right now. Try it out. He's like, no, I'm not ready. I don't have the leads. I'm like, okay, I'll scrape you some more leads, or I'll get you some more leads, right? And then he's like, no, man, I don't have enough leads. So it's kind of like, we don't have enough leads. We're afraid of calling because we don't have enough leads. So it was kind of back and forth. And then it came to a point where like, you know what? Let's take action. And then that's where I started calling. I was like, you know what? Make the first call while I have my camera on. I was a little nervous to a point where I hung up a lot of the phone calls and I was like, I wasn't ready. And then he was like, yo, man up, come on. Like, we kept hyping each other up. It was amazing. It was an amazing energy. And you know what? I got motivated and I got inspired. I was like, okay, there's no way, bro. I need to do this. It's today or never. Started dialing, and from there on in, I just kept dialing.
Numbers game, man. Numbers game. Simple as that. And it's crazy because when I joined the call where you were doing live calls, I could see you were visibly like, it was a combination of adrenaline and nerves. And I could see you were like, at one point you were shaking a little bit. Somebody would answer, then they would hang up. You'd then call them back. And I was actually there at the exact moment you booked a sales meeting. It was absolutely insane. It was so inspiring. There was, I feel like you're getting emotional about it as well because of how far you've come, your backstory. Here's somebody who's been homeless, joined this course, and literally has transformed his life. It's absolutely insane. So I remember that moment you were on the call, the person's answered, you've gone through your sales pitch, and you've actually booked a meeting live with your camera on in front of 20 people. It's hard enough doing a sales call when it's just you dialing and calling and speaking to someone. for you to have the courage to do it in front of fellow community members, absolutely insane. And you booked the meeting. So that must have been some unbelievable feeling for you. How did you feel in that moment when you started booking these meetings?
Oh, amazing. It felt like I got it in me. What's holding me back? Like, why was I afraid this entire time, right? Everything happens for a reason. There's a moment for everything. The moment I watched over that video, because I recorded it, I'm happy I recorded it, because I can go from the beginning to where I had the conversation with the client to the end when I closed. Everything that I learned in digital Launchpad and within the 6 years, right? Of me actually putting in work, and
it's that beautiful moment of everything coming together, right? It's that, because
everything.
when you're going through them 6 years, or you trying different courses or trying the real world or whatever it might have been prior, all that time, and you feel a bit defeated, you feel a bit down, you start having self-doubt, right? It's human nature. Like, am I cut out for this? Everybody says, yeah, never had any doubt. Bro, everybody has some self-doubt. And then to have that moment where it all comes together and you prove to yourself that, you know what, I can do this, I do belong here. That's a beautiful feeling, and I'm blessed that I was able to be on that call, because the energy in that voice chat, the energy was unmatched, like unbelievable. So you've booked this sales call, and then you need a little bit of help before the sales call, right? And this is where you reached out again to the community, you reached out to Malek, myself, and we arranged for you to have a mastermind session with one of our senior sales managers, Scott. So tell me how that was.
Before that, there has to be something mentioned, because when I was calling these clients through a cold call, Malik, she told you to jump in and check us out, see how we're doing. And with that client that I closed, like I hung up, and then you told me to call him back. So I was like, I'm nervous though. I'm like, what if he doesn't pick up, right? And I called him back after you gave me a little tips, and you told me, hey, just say you got disconnected and just go back to the script. So I called him back, and I went right through it. I went right through the script, and he reconfirmed his phone number. He reconfirmed the appointment, like right there on the call. Like,
I remember.
Hey, I remember you. And like, he gave me his personal number, and then a week later, bro, like I'm on the video with him, and I end up closing it.
Unbelievable. But how did that call with Scott? Obviously, Scott, I know he's an absolute killer when it comes to sales. How did that help you prior to that actual call with the client? You went through some techniques, some strategies. How did that go?
Yes, that was amazing. Definitely, his techniques and skills of bypassing gatekeepers was insane. He gave me so much pointers when it comes to gatekeeping, and that's kind of my biggest obstacle, or that's something that I was kind of going through at the time. And was, how do I approach these gatekeepers? What do I say to them? Like, I don't know what to say to any of these gatekeepers. And I'm trying to find the note here, but he gave me amazing advice, and one of the biggest ones that really caught my attention, he sent me a voice note. But yeah, it was the gatekeepers for sure. Everything that he told me about that, he definitely inspired me, and I was able to get through a lot more gatekeepers after that phone call.
Amazing. So in terms of this call, this client, you tell me a little bit about that call. You closed that client, right? The client you had booked, you closed it. What was that worth, that deal? What did that deal bring you in terms of profit, in terms of revenue? I just want to get an idea of your investment and your return on investment thus far in Digital Launchpad, because it's absolutely insane. So what was that client? What was that deal like?
$3,000.
$3,000.
Yeah.
And how long have you been part of DL?
I guess a month now. A month and a day.
$37 investment and a $3,000 return already. Like, that is.
I mean, don't get me. I paid the year in advance on the day after I paid.
Nonetheless, so it's actually, if you pay the year in advance, it's actually even cheaper. It works out even cheaper, so it's less than $37. The return on investment is even greater, bro. That's absolutely insane, and it's not. I know that's an amazing feeling, right? But I just think as a person, I've seen you develop and grow, and the confidence grow, and it's just an absolutely unbelievable feeling. So once you've closed the client, everything's done. Tell me what that feeling was like, bro, when you've closed that $3,000 client.
It's crazy because I have a recording of me reacting to it. After I closed it, I just screamed and yelled like, "You finally, I'm the man, I'm the man." But definitely it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling. I took a step back and I was like, okay, I got to slow down. I got to now do the work, right? Obviously I'm going to do it. I have to fulfill, make sure that my client is happy. There's no returns or chargebacks.
100%.
That's a lot of money. So I'm definitely putting in the work for it as well, making sure it's fulfilled, make sure everything goes aligned correctly.
And in
So
terms
that's
of
a case study.
yeah, in terms of like the contract as well, because you would have had to send a contract to the client. Had you done any contracts before or anything like that? Because obviously that's something that you tapped into the community for again. I believe Malek helped you with some contracting work and how to put all the resources together and stuff.
That contract definitely saved me so much. I have my wife, she's editing it for me, so I could send it out to all of my clients now. That definitely was a plus. I loved it.
Amazing.
The contract definitely saved me.
How have you found the community aspect of Digital Launchpad?
Amazing. And there's no words to explain the type of community that's being built here. There's so many ambitious, hardworking individuals that want to have a future for themselves. Like they want to be successful. They want to be able to provide for their family. If not success, they at least want to be able to provide for their family. Like not everyone wants to be a multimillionaire, but at least they want to be able to, have time free and money free, financial freedom.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I've noticed more than anything else, that the people coming in are just, sometimes you get people who just come along for the ride and you think, oh, they just joined. Every single person I speak to, the level of questions, the level of intrigue, the level of curiosity, it's unbelievable. Like the kind of people that we have in the community, it can't help but inspire you. Even I'm inspired. Like honestly, even I'm inspired in terms of at the stage of life where I'm at, in terms of business and personally and how I am as a person. I still see guys like you coming on here and smashing it and what it means to you and seeing that energy. It's infectious. It really, really is. So I'm not going to ask you if Digital Launchpad is worth it, because your return on investment is ridiculous. And I think just generally all the education and the community and everything is amazing. But what would you say to somebody who's looking to join Digital Launchpad?
Take the action. It's just $39. Come on, man. Like, what is it?
37,
what are you gonna lose?
Even cheaper. 37.
37. But what are you gonna lose, bro? Come on, that's your lunch money. That's your lunch right there. Just give it up for once and see what it is, and you're gonna love it. Definitely, the community is where all the money's at. That's where you're gonna see your true value. Within the community, interacting with everyone, asking for help, looking at the opportunity section, joining the mock calls, watching me with these live calls, learning firsthand from many people, because I'm not the only one who's doing it. There's a lot of people here who do it. You can learn from everyone.
100%. You've mentioned you've been a part of different communities. You mentioned the real world. You've had success here, right? With Digital Launchpad. Within 4 weeks, you've insane numbers, right? So how would you say it differs in terms of your experience in Digital Launchpad as opposed to other communities you've been a part of?
To be honest, I think it differs by a lot. It's a huge difference. In the real world, I was there for 4 months. It's so much information. It's like a library. It's a huge library of overwhelming information. There's not a right guidance and like, hey, use this for yourself. And within the Digital Launchpad, it was like a perfect balance of what's important and the amount of courses. Definitely was a good balance for me and not overwhelming.
So I think that's one of the things where we've worked really hard in making sure that when people come in, it's a very clear blueprint, whether it's the winning store with e-commerce. I was speaking to a couple of students who have had great success, that they found the step-by-step process, the resources, very, very simple to follow. It doesn't take you months and months of like reading and studying we get you to the point of where you take action very soon. So I think we've been very intentional about that. And again, it's really refreshing to hear when I speak to students that they're also feeling that. So yeah, and obviously look, as we say in the UK, the proof's in the pudding, right? So
this definitely is.
your results are there for everyone to see. So yeah, absolutely thrilled. And how's everything going with the business now? Obviously still going on with it, still making the calls, still doing everything.
Well, I rebranded. Now that I officially have an understanding of where I'm going, it's called MediGlow Ads. So strictly into the health and wellness niche. So now it's only growing from there. I have a couple of few members who are now helping me out, and I think I have a team.
Amazing. Joshua, it's been amazing speaking to you, and to see your journey from somebody who has been battling, trying to get into entrepreneurship, failing, succeeding, stopping, starting, homeless, coming into Digital Launchpad, really taking the initiative, really working hard, putting yourself out there, doing these live calls in the community, fearless, even in the face of like nerves and, being a little bit tentative. You were fearless and you just chased it. And to see that within less than 4 weeks of joining Digital Launchpad, you've secured a $3,000 client. It's not going to be your last $3,000 client. And of that, I'm sure. Yeah, wish you all the very best with that. Thank you massively for joining me, and honestly, I feel blessed to have been a part of your journey.
It's an honor as well. Thank you so much, Ali.